Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back into 3 Zen. Bobo here. So, this morning I'm going to start out with a story of mine that occurred at Detroit Airport shortly after April 1st, 2001. Now, that date is significant because that's the date a Chinese fighter collided with an American P-3. The Chinese fighter subsequently dove into the sea and the pilot was killed. And the P-3 landed at Hainan Island, and the crew of 24 was interned for a while, interrogated, and so forth, until the Americans and the Chinese came out with a mealy-mouthed description of the incident that allowed both countries to save face. Now, I've never been one for taking this kind of crap. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. Never have. There's nothing that justified the Chinese attack nor retaining the Americans. But anyway, be that as it may, all those decisions are made way above my pay grade. But I learned I could fight back in my own way. Not very much of an impact, but it made me feel good. So what happened was I was walking down the old concourse of the Detroit airport, and these five Chinese gentlemen came up to me, and they were obviously in a hurry. And one of them spoke pidgin English, broken English. So he comes up to me and he says, "Please to tell me," he said, "where is gate to Beijing?" And I went total stupid on his ass. I said, "Pardon me?" "Beijing, Beijing." It's like, talk louder at me. I can't understand you. So anyway, I said, "Peking?" "No, Beijing." He might as well have said, "You dumb shit," after it, which I kind of got an amusement out of it. Anyway, I said, "Beijing." He said, "Yeah, yeah." And then again, I could almost read, "You dumbass." Now, that's one thing that I had an ability to do when I was drinking. I could read minds, but I could pick up on body language, and it was all there. So he muttered something to his homies standing around, and they're all looking at me. And I said, "Beijing, yes, yes." "Okay." I said, "that gate is down that way," pointing to the C concourses. Now, all international flights at that time in the old terminal left out of the F concourses. And I said, "Enjoy the walk, you," and watched them go scampering down the jetway there. They had one of those walking escalators, actually is what it was, down into the sea gates. And because of their being in a hurry, I figured if they got down there and discovered that I'd sent them the wrong way, I was not worried about it because us gringos all look alike anyway. So I figured they'd go down there, and then by the time they get the quarter mile back to the F gates, they'd probably get back in time to watch the doors being closed. I don't know whatever happened to them. I didn't follow them, didn't want to, but in my heart of hearts, I felt pretty good about that. My own little way of fighting back. And I picked this up from watching movies like The Great Escape. The Great Escape, when they would do things one way or another to sabotage the operation. The other thing is, there's a guy named Hegdel who was a Navy sailor that got tossed overboard off a destroyer during the Vietnam War, and the Gomers picked him up, took him into Hanoi, started interrogating him, and he said, "I'm a postal worker." He says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a Yankee air pirate. I work in a post office on a destroyer." And they were on a fire mission. I got knocked overboard. He stuck with that story because it was the truth, and they never could break him, and he subsequently became known as the incredibly stupid one. But be that as it may, that guy did a tremendous amount of damage to the North Vietnamese right under their noses. During air raids, the Gomers would all scatter and hide, not realizing we wouldn't hit our own people. Anyway, he used that opportunity to put sand in their gas tanks, and he sabotaged them a few other ways. But I'm kind of getting a little bit off on one of my ADD tangents here, but this is a good place for that story. He, having worked in a post office in the postal department on board that ship, he had an ability for memorizing names and serial numbers and so forth. So when it came time, when the Gomers offered to release some guys, he was ordered out by, I think, General Flynn at the time. He did not want to leave, but because he had memorized over 200 names, General Flynn thought, this is one guy we want to send out. So they did. They figured, Gomers figured he didn't have anything more to offer him. So he came back and provided names of over 200 POWs, a lot of which, the Americans didn't realize they had. So he was a valuable resource in that. Not only that, he was an inspiration of mine, and I can trace back my behavior with those 5 Chinese business guys to this guy. I can't do anything direct, okay, but I can do something to make their life a little bit more exciting that one day, which I did. Then, to tie this thread up, April 1st, 2001 is when that incident occurred, and that was about the time we had this phenomenon in the United States called the Beanie Baby. I don't know if a lot of you remember that or whatnot. Oh God, people were going nuts over those things. So I thought to myself, if I could get somebody to take a Beanie Baby, put it in a flight suit, complete with a helmet, a little tiny thing, it doesn't have to be too large, and then cram that thing in a mayonnaise jar and put salt water in it, you could sell Chinese fighter pilot Beanie Babies. Never did get off the ground with it, but it was kind of amusing to think about. So that gives you some insight into my sick mind here this morning. I'll be back with you with another story here in a little bit. This is Bobo, Base Gear. Stop.